Hello, this is Peggy speaking to you today from the other side of the camera, and welcome to the floral world. Wayne and I have spent a good amount of time not only learning the various design styles, along with the flower names, but in exploring the many facets of the floral world. We have served on local and national boards, attended many design seminars, we've competed in design events. We both have our FTD Master Florist certificates, and Wayne has been inducted to the American Institute of Floral Designs. We feel strongly about the education and resources that are available to the florists, and we believe that this thirst for knowledge helps us be better designers and betters our ability to serve our customers. Because we feel so strongly about being transparent, we want to share our knowledge with our community. This is one of the reasons that our store currently has an open design concept where you can select your flowers and your vases. In fact, you can even watch us design. During the day, we often get calls from someone who has just learned of the death of a loved one, or a death of a father's friend, or even the loss of a family pet. And as we begin to take down the information for the order, we often hear, I've never done this before. And that phrase, I've never done before, in this particular case, is referring to ordering Sympathy Flowers. So today, in our sharing of education and our knowledge of floral world, I want to share some terminology with you about funerals and Sympathy Flowers. Throughout history, flowers have been used for every stage of the life cycle, from birth to death. But in death, flowers are traditionally a way to honor the dead, and it is symbolic of a very fragile, fleeting nature of life. It is thought that the natural beauty of flowers can also lessen some of the emotional burden that accompanies the visual imagery of funerals. Today's topic is flowers that express our sympathy, our love, and respect during times of loss. There is an etiquette in sending funeral flowers that can help everybody learn a little more about what's appropriate in the situation that we're going to kind of review. As always, we begin our topic by looking at history. How did we get here? I find it funny that flowers originally served a very practical purpose in funerals. They were used to control the odor of the decomposing body. Before embalming became an integral part of the funeral process, and before refrigerated storage was common in funeral homes, bodies decomposed naturally very quickly, and they made a huge stink, if we may say. Funeral home directors used flowers draped around the casket, which is still traditional today, but they used them to mask an obnoxious smells. One of the more famous examples of a funeral of the President Andrew Jackson in 1874, he was not embalmed, so that by the day of his funeral, his corpse was in terrible shape. And the funeral director had the insight to close the casket and pile fragrant flowers around and on top of the casket to mask the odor long enough for the service to be complete. The purpose of flowers at a funeral is to celebrate life. Sending sympathy flowers to a family in mourning is a great way to show your support. However, it can be difficult to know what kind of funeral flowers to send or what each type of bouquet entails. The decision of sympathy flowers usually begins with flower types and colors. And when it comes to choosing the right color, there are multiple ways that one can follow. Depending on the gender of the person who just passed away, one can select a color theme, such as neutral colors for a man, yellow and white, or pink and purples for a woman. But flower selections can include wildflowers and succulents, greens only, tropical flowers such as anthuriums, bold, bright, whimsical. I always tell our customer that there's no right or wrong in making your color or flower type. If you like it, or the flowers remind you of the deceased, then your color choice will be perfect for you, and we will work to make it perfect. The first term is a casket spray or the casket piece, which offers a final tribute to a departed loved one. Its beauty and elegance sets the tone for the funeral service. Families, or those who had a deep formal relationship with the deceased, usually send the casket piece. A full casket spray is a large arrangement placed in the center of a closed casket. These arrangements are usually 4 to 5 feet wide, based on the casket typically being about 6 feet long. More commonly, the half casket spray casket top is a piece that's placed on the right side. The half couch, as it's called, is a 2-piece lid, and the head, the left side, opens during visitation. This arrangement is usually 3 to 4 feet, depending on the amount of flowers and the size of the mass. The foundation for all casket sprays is a mechanic called a casket saddle. A casket saddle is a container with a round base which fits on the curving contour of a casket lid. The saddles are usually made of molded plastic and are available in many sizes and shapes. And the flowers and foliage of a casket spray should cover the entire saddle so you do not see the mechanics. Script, denoting the relationship of the deceased, is often attached to the ribbon streamers, as we see here, a bow. We understand the floral tribute for a loved one is very important. We welcome the grandma blankets, dad's fishing pole, or in this case, a man who was part of the Ford Corporation. If you want to do a custom pricing or flower selection, you just need to let your florist know. There is no end to what can be done and what has been done. In talking about casket tops, we have to start talking about cremations. 50 years ago, only a tiny fraction of Americans chose to be cremated after death. Today, it is over 50% of the population. And the results have been special needs for flowers and the way the ceremonies are done. Today, there are a variety of urns made out of metal, plastic, wood, and ceramic, and there are many other methods of disposing ashes that we can talk about with your funeral director. But the tribute flowers can still be part of a memorial service that involves an urn. Flowers can be designed in a circle, or to the back, or to the side, to complement the urn but not cover up, because that is the star, on the table. Many families today choose to display a photo table instead of a casket or an urn. The photo can be nested in a small floral wreath or displayed with flowers to the side. We are always very careful not to cause permanent damage to the photo used. Often, standing floral arrangements, sometimes referred to as sprays, are used in memorials or funeral services. In these cases, the standing flower bouquets are placed on easels so they can be seen easily and placed next to the casket on the memorial displays. Sometimes floral wreaths are used, sometimes hearts, sometimes crosses. There are a lot of different choices of design style. A simple reminder here, when sending something to a family's home, do not send a spray. A spray is strictly for the funeral and shouldn't be used for home or office arrangements. Sending to the house is always appropriate, and you can send directly to the home or the office and be very personal and heartfelt condolences. This type of arrangement can be sent before or after the service in memory of the deceased. And don't forget plants, because they're always a great selection, and they're great if someone's there to take them back to the fact as a memory of that person. When you call for an order, share with our professional staff what you would like as far as style and possible flowers. In some cases, flower substitutions will have to be made due to availability issues. In that case, we can suggest alternatives. Our staff will request information to be placed on the enclosure card and make sure your floral tribute is delivered on time. We hope reviewing some of these terms has been helpful for you in ordering future flowers and funeral flowers. In short, The experience of a funeral or memorial service is emotional and it can be difficult. And one way to soften it and make it more bearable is with the presence of specially chose funeral flowers. Whenever I'm asked if it's appropriate to send funeral flower arrangements to a service or sympathy flowers to a home, I'm reminded of the words of the American botanist and horticulturist Luther Burbank, who said, "Flowers always make people better, happier, and more helpful. They are the sunshine, food, and medicine of the mind." The Flower Nook looks forward to handling all your floral needs, and we thank you for watching.